Have you ever been so hungry you'd do anything for food? Not just snack-level hungry. I mean the kind of hunger that makes your head spin, your body ache, your logic collapse under the weight of survival. Now imagine that in that moment, you make a decision. And that decision rearranges history. This is the story of Esau and the stew, a story of hunger, haste, and a trade so tragic, it still echoes across centuries. They were twins. Born to Isaac and Rebekah, the promised son and daughter-in-law of Abraham, the patriarch who had received the promise of God himself. But from the very beginning, these twins were at odds. Genesis 25 tells us. The children struggled together within her. And God said, "2 nations are in your womb, and the older shall serve the younger." Esau was born first, red, hairy, wild. A man of the field. A hunter. The favorite of Isaac. Jacob came second, grasping Esau's heel as if he knew even in birth what he was reaching for. He was thoughtful, quiet, a dweller in tents. Rebekah's favorite. These were not just two brothers. They were two futures. Two nations. The land was dry. The hunt was brutal. Esau had spent hours in the wilderness, chasing game under the scorching Canaanite sun. His muscles ached. His quiver was nearly empty. Dust coated his tongue. But more than physical fatigue, something deeper pulled at him, a kind of spiritual erosion that can happen when strength becomes your only identity. By the time he reached camp, he was starving. Not metaphorically. Desperately. And there it was. The smell. Red stew, rich, fragrant, bubbling in a clay pot over fire. Jacob stood over it, calm and unmoved. Esau stumbled in. "Let me have some of that red stew. I am faint." Jacob, ever the strategist, didn't hand him a bowl. He offered a deal. "Sell me your birthright." Esau blinked. "What? The birthright?" That wasn't just about cattle and tents. It was about legacy. Authority. A double portion of inheritance. The blessing of Abraham's line. The covenant of God. But Esau was thinking with his stomach, not his soul. "Look, I am about to die. What good is the birthright to me?" And in that moment, without negotiation, hesitation, or reflection, he swore an oath. He traded everything for a bowl of stew. To the world, it looked like a moment of weakness. But to God, it was a window into Esau's heart. Scripture doesn't say Esau was tricked. It says he despised his birthright. He treated it like it was nothing. And that choice wasn't just personal, it was prophetic. From this trade, the lineage of promise would now flow through Jacob. The God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. The Messiah himself would one day come from Jacob's line, not Esau's. A simple meal had rewritten the map of salvation history. Esau would later regret the decision, but regret doesn't reverse a covenant. He would plead for blessing from his father, only to find it had already been given. And not long after, his descendants, the Edomites, would become enemies of Jacob's line, Israel. Two nations locked in tension, from border skirmishes to spiritual wars. And at the root of it all, a decision made over stew. You may not be hungry in the wilderness. But in life, you'll face moments of pressure, moments where comfort will cost you your calling. Esau's story isn't just ancient history. It's a mirror. We all have a birthright, a purpose, a legacy, a destiny. But what are we trading it for? Approval? Pleasure? Status? A moment of escape? Esau lost his future because he couldn't see past his now. The trade wasn't stew for power. It was eternity for immediacy. And that's a trade you don't want to make. So the next time you're tempted to settle, the next time your hunger screams louder than your purpose, remember Esau. And remember, the stew is never worth the story you'll lose. If this story challenged you, inspired you, or opened your eyes to something deeper, hit that like button, subscribe, and drop a comment.